So there are 3 different types of flam taps. Slam tap where the second note is also an accent, so where the second note is a decrescendo, so we have 3 distinct heights for each one of the notes, kind of in between the grace note height and the accent height. And then a full-on tap for the second note. So regardless of what type of flam tap you want to work on, this exercise, the Flam Tap Builder, is a great way to be able to work on it. So it starts off with a little check that's just accent tap, and then we play what your right hand plays when playing a flam tap. And what we're doing here is we're layering in one left hand at a time. So this measure right here adds in the first left hand, and then adds in the next left hand. And then finally, we get the composite. And then what's happening is we are subtracting one right hand at a time. So this particular exercise helps you to work on flam taps, but there are many more in the Rudiment Builders playlist that helps you to work on like your inverts or your cheese inverts or your paradiddles or your flam drags or whatever you want. And all of these can be found on my home tab on YouTube, or by going to jaredoleary.com/drum, where there's over 2,000 free exercises that you can use to improve your drumming, as well as over 13 hours of drumming tips and lessons. So when people work on a rudiment and they like isolate hands out into like, here's what my right hand plays while playing a flam tap, like what they'll often do is like just work on the right hand, then just the left hand, and then do the composite. The reason why I've got these ones in between is because we're slowly layering in one hand at a time. As you slowly layer in one hand at a time, you want to make sure that this hand does not change. So when I add in my first grace note, or the first left hand accent, I don't want it to change what my right hand plays as I'm layering in a hand and then eventually getting rid of a hand. So some of the students that I would work with, they would like be able to play it off the right hand, be able to play it off the left hand, and then as soon as they put it together, then all of a sudden things fall apart. So if you slow this down and you slowly layer in one hand at a time, then you can improve with it. So this particular exercise goes from 20 beats a minute all the way up to 160 beats a minute, but I highly recommend starting slow like I am, started at 40 beats a minute, and slowly speed it up as you refine things to make it so that as you layer in a hand or subtract hands, it does not change the way your hands feel or sound. There's an exercise that can help out with being able to speed up a rudiment. It's called slow, fast, slow. And there's a few different variations with quarter note, with eighth notes, swung eighth notes, triplet, 16th notes, or swung 16th notes. So if I want to work on a paradiddle with a flam on one, I would go into the 16th note section right here. You pick a BPM range using the timestamps in the description. What it's going to do now is it's going to count off and start playing 16th notes at 40 beats a minute. It does it for 4 counts, and it slowly will go up 1 click at a time per measure, so every 4 counts, all the way up to whatever my maximum tempo is. In this case, it's 105 beats a minute. It's going to hold it there for 4 measures, and then it'll go 1 click at a time slower, all the way back down to the starting speed, which is 40 beats a minute. So if you're trying to improve the speed of like a paradiddle with a flam on one, or any kind of rudiment, maybe just a normal paradiddle, start slow using slow, fast, slow. Pick your maximum desired tempo, slowly speed it up, hold it at whatever your maximum tempo is, and then slowly slow it back down. This will allow you to really refine your technique and also make it so that you're just sitting there playing the same rudiment for like a few minutes straight, but it's getting progressively faster and then progressively slower. So it's not as boring as just sitting there with a metronome at 1 BPM and just sitting there and hammering it out. Or if you go back down into the technique section with the thousands of exercises in here, there's an opposite version where it's fast, slow, fast. This one, it's the same idea with the subdivisions, but it starts fast, it slows it down so you can really refine the technique, and then it speeds it back up to whatever your starting tempo is. There's a bunch of different exercises in here that are great for working on your accent tap. What I'd actually recommend if you scroll towards here are the tap relaxer exercises. It's a very simple exercise where you're starting at tap height at 3 inches for a whole measure, and then you're doing a slight emphasis for this measure, so you're doing 4-inch accents and 3-inch taps, and then the next measure you're raising up the accent to 6 inches, and then to 9, and then all the way to 12 with 3-inch taps, and then it just goes back the way it came. So it goes back down to 9 inches, and then 6 inches, 4 inches, and finally into 3-inch taps. So this exercise, when you're working on it, you can go into the timestamps, and you can go at 20 beats a minute, or all the way up to 160. You could do this with just your right hand, with just your left hand. You could do this as alternating, or you could do this my favorite way as double stops, so both hands at the same time, which allow you to both see what your hands are doing at the same time without having to like memorize, well, my right hand does this, my left hand does this, but also hear it. So if you hear like a flammy cha sound, then you'll know that one of your hands is faster or slower than the other one. But there's more variations of this in this accent tap exercises playlist. But there's also an accent relaxer, which is the opposite of what I was just demonstrating. So this one starts at 12 inches and it slowly lowers the taps for each one of the measures. So in this case is an emphasis right here. 12-inch accents with an 11-inch tap, and then 9-inch tap, and then 6-inch, and then finally 3 inches, and then it just goes back the way that it came. So this one focuses on relaxing your accents, while the other one focuses on relaxing your taps. How can you work on floppy flams? So they are when you are alternating two different flams, and it could be all at one height, or it could be at like two different heights where you're doing like an accent tap, etc. And you're playing them faster. So one way that you can work on this is to start so that your flams are small and just slowly raise the accents while keeping the grace note low, and then slowly lower the accents and speed that up over time. Another way to work on it is the opposite of that. So start with the grace notes high and slowly lower the grace notes while you keep the accents high, and then slowly raise the grace notes while you're doing that, and again, speed that up over time. But another way that I highly recommend working on your floppy flams would actually put them in grid variations that you see right here. So you could do this with triplet or with 16th notes. So if we go into this playlist that is specifically for flams, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a bunch of different variations of flams in here. There's like flams on taps, but there's the alternating flams variations. So if you click on here, it's just alternating flams the entire time. But while you're doing this, you're moving the accents. So you're going triplet, 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 And you do this with triplets or with 16th notes. So I highly recommend working on this when you're working on your alternating flams. And with any one of these play-alongs, you just go into the timestamp and you can go as slow as 40 on this one or as fast as 200. If you can play alternating flam grid at 200, I would love to see that. I think the most I've gotten is in like the 160s, but that is still very difficult to do with these extra heavy Hardeman hammer double tape sticks. And if you want more grid variations, there's literally over 900 more. So that'll keep you busy for a while with a variety of rudiments. One of the things that I think is interesting about like teaching the drums and playing for as long as I have is people don't always really think about the mental side of things as much as they should. So the playing is like important, but the consistency comes from the practice and the ability to be able to focus on what you're practicing over an extended period of time. So really focus on not just like playing stuff fast, but like slowing it down and being able to concentrate on a subtle detail for an extended period of time. Like I'm just going to work on tap consistencies for the next 30 minutes. And then I'm just going to work on my hand-to-hand transitions for the next 30 minutes, etc. However long it needs to be, like at least several minutes in a row, just straight focusing on one thing. If you can develop that kind of concentration through meditation or, just through practicing, making it so you're tuning out everything else in the world and just focusing on one thing at a time, that's going to help elevate your playing as much as just like working on the hand side of things. So don't just focus on the physical, also focus on the mental.